Hi, it's Kelly here from Spiritual Awakening Signs, and today we are covering how to protect yourself from negative energy and psychic attack using a divine secret shield that we will reveal a little bit later in the video. Now today we're going to cover all the things that you need to know, whether you're absolutely new to this concept of psychic attack or whether it's something that's maybe affecting you already in your life now. We're going to talk about what psychic attack actually is and why it's so common. We're going to cover why spiritually awakened souls like us are more prone to attack than others. We'll tell you 20 top signs and symptoms of psychic attack that you need to watch out for that will help you to understand whether you're going through it now or whether it's something that's happened in the past. We'll also talk about your secret shield for divine protection against psychic attack, helping you to unlock the power of the divine. And of course, as always, we have our 4 steps to protect your energy from psychic attack that really work. That's the difference. These techniques really work, and of course we need something that works when we're so energy sensitive and we really pick up on that energy of attack. Now, if you're going through awakening or are energy sensitive in any sort of way at all, you are vulnerable to negative energy and psychic attack. In fact, it's almost definitely already happened at some point in your life and in your awakening, at least once or more. Now, for most people, this really isn't a big deal. It's not really that big a problem, but for those of us who are going through spiritual awakening or who are energy sensitive, it poses a big problem because we feel it, we sense it, we know that something isn't quite right in our energy field. Even if we might not know yet exactly that it's psychic attack, we sense that something's off, something's out of alignment and it doesn't feel right. And we're immediately affected by this really impactful energy, and it can leave us feeling uncomfortable, it can make us feel vulnerable, it can even make us feel unwell. It can create an instant negative shift in your emotions and your mood and your feelings, and it can generally cause us a sense of unease or even anxiety because we do sense that something isn't right, even if we're not quite sure what it is and even if we can't find any apparent cause. But worse than that, psychic attacks and negative energy sent towards us can be deliberate. In my experience, most often it is accidental and unintentional from the person who is sending the attack, and we'll talk a little bit more about what that means just in a moment. But it's only because we are so sensitively attuned to energy that we feel this on a very real, a very tangible level, and being so divinely connected to energy, it is a gift. Of course it's a gift, but in perceiving aspects of the mystical that few rarely experience or pick up on, it kind of opens us up to that entire spectrum of energy. So we get the good, but we also pick up on the bad and on the negative. And that can be irritating, it can be unbalancing, it can sometimes even be a little bit frightening. But I don't want you to worry, everything's going to be okay. Now, knowing that we are energy sensitive beings that have more of a sensitive nature with access to that full spectrum of energy, the good and the bad, we know that we're vulnerable to attack, we know that we're vulnerable to the negative energy that's around us, which in many cases there's nothing we can do about it. It's something that we can't change if it's in our environment. What can we do? What can we do about that? How can we remain in our power and in our right energy when these attacks make us feel so completely powerless? Because that's the first thing that they really do. They make you feel powerless, they make you feel afraid. Now, our best approach is not to retaliate, not to resent, not to hate these energies which can exist around us, but instead to approach this with the light worker's way. And I know that you'll resonate with this when I explain a little bit about it. It's with compassion and with light energy. Now, we protect ourselves so that we are no longer affected by the vibrational energy, the negative vibrational energy, and we can continue on in our daily lives when we do this, radiating unconditional love and light, unhindered by the effects of the moods, the energies, the reactions, the bad vibes, whatever it is from people around us. Now, from that space, we can maintain our balance. From that space, we can do so without becoming depleted, and it's going to allow us to continue to be a shining beacon of hope and positivity that models the way forward. It shows the way. We become an example for this light energy. And that's just letting us be the true light workers and leaders that we naturally are, showing those who are in those negative energies how to rise up from the density, showing them that there's more light available than they thought that there was, or that they can sense that there is. And it's just, like I said, being an example of that light and continuing to shine through all weathers. Okay, that's the way to do it. So this is the question that I pose to you. Do you want to remain sensitive and vulnerable to those inevitable psychic attacks, which happens to all of us in spiritual awakening, especially if we're energy sensitive? Or worse, do you want to just leave it to reside in your energetic field, which will lower your vibration without protecting yourself or strengthening your boundaries? It doesn't need to be that way. It really doesn't need to be that way. And we'll talk about what you can do in a moment, but I just really want to help you to understand how this can affect your energy, because it's not just an inconvenience, which it can sometimes be. It is sometimes, really taking you into a completely different experience of your spiritual growth and journey, and I don't want that for you. So this is really an urgent call to all light workers, all spiritually awakened souls, any energy sensitive person or empath. If you're going through awakening, if you're energy sensitive, you are vulnerable to negative energy and psychic attack. And like I said, it's probably already happened at least once in your lifetime. But sadly, most people do nothing about it. I know that you'll probably relate to this, because I was the same before, and I did a lot of energy healing training, a lot of spiritual training, and they all told us that we should be clearing things out and moving things on. But because I wasn't really that aware of it, or I didn't know to connect the dots of this symptom and this experience that I'm having, this bad mood, these negative thoughts, this string of bad luck in my life, because I didn't know what to look out for, I kind of dismissed it like most people do and thought, well, that's no big deal. But it is a big deal, because it stops you moving forward. So it's a huge mistake to do nothing about it. It really is. It's going to lower your vibration hugely. And the thing is, in order to awaken more fully and to continue to ascend, we have to keep casting off all the negativity, all those negative energies, in order to really transcend them. And without adequate and regular clearing and protection, of course, from future events, we really only serve to ensure that we can't rise any higher on those spiritual levels. By neglecting this vital aspect of energy maintenance, energetic hygiene, if you like, we would continually, unintentionally, actively choose to remain stuck where we are in that vibrational field, unable to continue raising our frequency. So it saddens me when I think of this, because I know how hard all of you work to align with the light and to move forward spiritually, only to have any progress undone by the negativity that's residing in your field, which isn't even yours. If it's psychic attack, it's someone else's directed at you. It's not even yours. So I know which path I want for you. I don't want you to be held back by this, because I already have been in years gone by. So if only you put energy clearing and protection, if you make that a regular part of your spiritual life, which it should be, any of those shadows are going to fall behind as you move forward, no matter what. And then there's really nothing to fear energetically. You know you're in a strong space. You know you're in the space where your mind and your thoughts and your energies are aligned and focused on the light and not on all the negativity that's around you. So if you're ready and willing to take action on this, obviously you're going to want the guidance, and we've got everything you need to know in this video. We'll cover it all. Which brings me to the next point. So let's talk about what a psychic attack really is, because I've kind of given a broad overview to begin, but we really need to understand what it is and what signs, most importantly, we need to be looking out for. Well, a psychic attack basically is a form of energetic invasion when negative energy is sent from one person to another purposely to lower the receiver's vibration. Now, it usually occurs between two people, but it can occur between it can come from an entity, a wayward, lower density spirits, fallen angels. It can come from any sort of astral realm as well, especially if you're energy sensitive. It commonly happens to energy sensitive beings like us very regularly. So we're going to talk about exactly what you need to do, not only to clear it, but to maintain that protective shield regularly to protect against future attacks going forward too. Now, it's incredibly common for energy sensitives like us for 4 main reasons. Number one is that we actively feel and we sense the energy hitting our field much more than the average unawakened person, who might actually never notice at all. But we notice, we know something's not right, we can feel it. The second reason is that light workers like us have a very light, high vibrational auric field, which tends to attract those lower vibrational energies like moths to a flame. Okay, like I said before, I used the term beacon. You really are a beacon of light, and it can draw in that negative energy. The third reason is that we have important life missions that we came here to complete, to help raise the vibration, and that can sometimes cause negative spirits, negative energies, even negative thoughts. If we have concerns and doubts, that creates negative energy, and that can stop you from succeeding. It can get in the way. Now, if you resonate with this, if it's something that you've experienced, please don't worry. There is nothing to fear. I went through this all on my own journey a few years back, and I'll show you how to overcome it easily, utilising that light worker vibration. And number 4 is that the usual protocol of visualising white light or protective energy bubbles, it's just not enough for the average unawakened person. If they don't sense energy, it's probably enough for them, but for us it either doesn't work or it doesn't last, and in fact it can actually sometimes exacerbate the problem, because you're ending up sending energy back to the sender and they could send it back to you, and energetically you create this sort of ping pong effect of negativity. It's like we want to rise up out of the drama. We don't want to perpetuate it in any way, even if that comes from protecting ourselves with a certain method. We want to be looking at something else. Now, psychic attacks can come in 2 main forms, okay? The first one is conscious attacks. So this is when the perpetrator intentionally directs their hurt, their anger, their resentment, their hate, envy, outrage, etc., negative energy towards another person. Now, the victim is usually left feeling uncomfortable, feeling fearful, maybe even feeling quite vulnerable, negative, and sometimes even unwell for no discernible reason. So that's the key with psychic attack. It's like something's changed, I don't feel right, and I can't seem to see any link or reason why that should be the case right now. And the other form of psychic attack is unconscious attacks. So this is accidental. This is when someone has intense negative feelings or thoughts about us, and they may not purposely direct that energy towards us intentionally, but our sensitivity causes us to pick up on that energy and that feeling, and that results in various different signs and symptoms, which we'll talk about shortly. Now, in the same respect, this is important to note, we can also unintentionally send negative energy out to others as well, so you need to be careful. Now, the intensity of our feeling when we have a negative reaction and the power of our energies are a really potent combination, especially when we haven't learned how to really govern and control those abilities yet. So watch out for that. Now, it might all seem a little bit overwhelming. I felt that way too at first. But once you know exactly what to do, and we're going to share everything that you need to know, regularly clearing and maintaining your energy and protecting against any possible attacks is going to become this automatic and effortless second nature. So don't worry about it. So now that we've got a better understanding of what psychic attacks actually are, let's take a look at some of the signs and symptoms that might indicate that you have experienced a psychic attack, whether now or even in the past. So let's talk about our top 20 signs and symptoms that you want to watch out for. Now, I've put these into groups because there's quite a few here. So we've got emotional signs, we've got physical signs, and we've got energetic. I'm going to run through them for you. See if you resonate or recognise any of these. So the emotional signs of psychic attack would be a sudden negative mood. So it comes on like that, really quickly. All of a sudden, I don't feel right. I feel fearful, I feel anxious, I feel depressed. Something's shifted quickly. Okay, so again, you might feel anxious or fearful. You'll have negative thoughts or perspectives, which might be out of alignment with who you usually are. You might feel vulnerable or tearful. You'll have emotional sensitivity and dysregulation, so just really finding it hard to get yourself back to balance, and it maybe doesn't quite make sense. And also this victim mentality, having recurrent themes of bullying or being attacked in your life in lots of different ways, would be some of the emotional signs. Some of the physical signs that you want to look out for is feeling unwell or nauseous, especially if it's really sudden, if it comes on really quickly. You might feel uncomfortable or uneasy. You could have instant fatigue, or you might feel completely drained, especially if it's after interacting with someone. Okay, it could be that this person is sending that negative energy to you intentionally or unintentionally. It's usually unintentional. Headaches, which are usually located around the third eye and the crown chakra. Brain fog, an inability to focus or concentrate, things get a little bit hazy. Nightmares, and especially dreams of being attacked in some way. It's the theme that we're really looking at here in the nightmares. And of course, the fight or flight response gets activated. So you might have experience of things like shaking, sweating, palpitations with no seeming cause. But I always just preface this by saying, if you have anything like that and you're concerned, always go and visit your doctor and just check that everything's okay first. Always look after the 3D vehicle first. But these are some of the signs that do tend to come up. And then, of course, look at the energetic signs of psychic attacks. So feeling ungrounded, feeling a sense of being watched is usually one. Feeling that your progress and your forward movement in life is blocked no matter what you do, or having ongoing bad luck that doesn't seem to shift. Tension or discomfort in the chakras, or simply suspecting or just knowing that you have been or you are being attacked. It's like, I just know. I've just had this suspicion. It just feels like that's what's happening. So you have to trust what your inner soul is telling you. Now, if you resonate with any of the points that we've just made, you've likely experienced psychic attack, but don't worry. All sensitives like us do many times throughout our lives and through our awakening, which is exactly why protecting yourself and your energies is of the utmost importance, especially when you're moving through a lot of negative energy, which does happen in spiritual awakening. Everything gets purged up to clear, and it can create a lot of negativity around us for a short while. So I know we've talked a lot about psychic attacks so far, and one point that I want to make is that, if we're honest, it makes some people uncomfortable. It does make some people uncomfortable, because there is a perspective within the spiritual community that we shouldn't acknowledge negativity, that we shouldn't talk about it, that instead this misguided suggestion would be to deny it, deny that it's there, to pretend that it isn't there, to fool ourselves into thinking that if we don't say it out loud, maybe it doesn't exist. We won't manifest it. But you and I both know that denial only serves to ignore the problem, and fear only serves to feed it. This approach just does not work. It just doesn't work. So we need to acknowledge that there is negativity there, and then put solution in place to help us rise above that energy. Okay, we don't need to focus on it all the time, and we don't want to put too much importance on it, but we certainly want to acknowledge that it's there so we can find a solution. And I especially know firsthand that when you're being psychically attacked, whether from people in your 3D life or the astral realms, that ignoring it does not protect you. Pretending it isn't there will not stop the effect of these energies that are impacting your life and your being, and they really can. They can have a huge effect. It's the equivalent of hoping that the school bullies will get fed up and they'll go away of their own accord, which we both know won't happen. Now, I had a pretty tough time with psychic attack a few years back, and you can actually read about it. You can take a look at our entity on our website, the article on our website, which is about the unexpected darkness. If you look that up, you'll find the entire story. It's pretty interesting, but it taught me a lot about psychic attack and overcoming it, and we'll cover all that so that you have all the information that you need, so please don't fret. But I do want you to take action to protect yourself appropriately. You see, this isn't punishment. When you start getting into this negative energy, it can feel like something's gone wrong. It's not a punishment. It's actually not a terrible thing that happens to us that we have no control over. It's a training module of spiritual awakening that ensures that we move out of that sort of victim energy, that attack energy, and the battle mode of that constant fight between light and dark. Fight, 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 light and dark. It's moving out of that, but you'd be wondering how. How do we move out of that? Well, I can tell you firsthand that I spent years trying to visualise protective bubbles, impenetrable auric fields, using crystals and incense, and praying to different spiritual deities for help. And sometimes it eased the problem momentarily, only to revert to feeling entirely open to attack again shortly thereafter. But mostly it didn't work at all. And I found this a problem in awakening, that it was like, why do other people use these things and they seem to be okay, but I'm using them and it doesn't really seem to be fixing the problem. Now, does that mean that these approaches don't work? No, absolutely not. They do work. For the average person who isn't energy sensitive, that's likely all that they need to regain balance. But for spiritually awakening souls like us, who are very energy aware and very energy sensitive and who have very volatile awakening energies, it's just not enough. But I found a solution. We need to use our secret shield of divine protection, and that's the Merkaba. Now, the Merkaba, or chariot, it's an ancient sacred geometric symbol that dates back to Babylonian times, which was used in meditation by mystics as a divine vehicle to facilitate communication and ascension to the higher realms. Now, it's made of 3 separate words: Mer, meaning light, Ka, meaning body, and Ba, meaning spirit. And these 3 words represent the union of both spirit and body surrounded by light. Now, it's composed of 2 3D triangular pyramids with a shared centre. You might have seen it before, you've probably seen it before. One points up, one points down, and that symbolises the union of the body and the soul into one unified whole. It's an 8-pointed star made up of interlocking tetrahedrons, and it's of balance and harmony. Now, the Merkaba is the perfect tool to be our powerful ally against psychic attack, because its sacred geometry can surround us with a protective shield that actively restores balance. And we can employ that balance and energy for this particular problem. Now, by utilising a symbol that is the embodiment of balance and maintaining an energy of equilibrium within our own auric field, we strengthen our resolve, we fortify our spirit. It moves us out of that vibration of vulnerability, out of the vibration of victimhood, and into a strong yet compassionate sort of centeredness. And that simple shift can really enhance our spiritual growth, which will not only protect against the effect of these harmful psychic attacks when they happen, but it's going to raise our vibration by training our thoughts and our focus back to a state of inner equilibrium over and over and over again. And that's going to maintain groundedness, resilience, peace of mind. It's going to really bring in compassion as well for any attacker that's trapped in that lower negative density of energy. So that's really ensuring that we're in the right headspace, we're in the right energetic space, we're in a state of balance so that we're protected from, really getting caught up in that energy as we move forward too. So it's going to protect against future attacks. Now, the Merkaba, it encourages us to be our best selves. So this energy really works best when you actually prepare yourself before you invoke it by maintaining alignment with your thoughts, your actions and your deeds that are moral and responsible in nature. Okay, it's all about honour. You really want to live honourably. Now, some mystics chose to prepare themselves by fasting, and you can do that as well if you wish. But if you do, be very sure to do it in a healthy, responsible way, because eating regularly brings us much needed groundedness in our energies, and it's going to ensure that you remain anchored to the earth as you conduct this connection. And it also maintains appropriate psychic boundaries and discernment, and that is important in any interaction with others, whether it's 3D or astrally, of course. Now, if you do want to do that, it's not necessary, but if you want to, and you want to do it like the mystics did, we would suggest using the 16-8 schedule, so you can eat during an 8-hour window and then you fast for 16 hours. For example, maybe you eat from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and don't forget to drink plenty of fluids throughout this time as well. You've got to maintain balance because you've got to match the energy of the Merkaba that you're trying to align with as well. So you do it responsibly, living in that honourable energy and taking care of yourself in the process. Now, for best results when you're calling upon the divine Merkaba, do it with humility and with gratitude, respect and honour, so that you can match the energy of this wonderful spiritual tool. Now, the Merkaba can be used for psychic protection in a number of different ways. So first of all, it surrounds you with a protective shield that actively restores balance. It strengthens your resolve and it fortifies your spirit. It shifts you out of the vibration of vulnerability and victimhood and into a strong yet compassionate centeredness. It defends against psychic attacks, psychic hooks, and negative projections from others, and it elevates focus from that victim-perpetrator cycle of battling dark versus light, that constant fight. And it's also going to help you to cultivate a harmonic sense of unconditional love and divine connected oneness. Again, those pyramids represent that union, that oneness with the all, and that's what we can step into when we use this wonderful symbol. So using the Merkaba is a little known but surefire way of tapping into the protective shielding powers that energy sensitives like us so desperately need. But how? Well, don't worry, we have a simple 5-step system that's going to help you to know exactly what you need to do to step forward now. So let's get into the content. So step 1 is to prepare yourself for invocation. Now, calling upon the sacred divinity of the Merkaba must be done with humility and gratitude for its assistance, and honour and respect for its vibration. We're calling this in, so we need to do it with the right approach, and that means we must choose to align with its energy by being our best selves. The Merkaba calls you to be the best, highest self that you can possibly be, and you want to do that by being responsible and conscientious in your thoughts, your actions, and your deeds. Now, you might want to prepare a sacred space for this before you do it. You might want to use incense or candles or other favourite spiritual items, and you can also fast before you do this. You can fast before this experience so that you can prepare just like the ancient initiates did, if you wish. It's not compulsory, but you can do it if you wish. Now, if you do, we would suggest using the 16-8 schedule, where you can eat during an 8-hour window, and then fast for 16 hours. For example, eat from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and then don't forget to drink plenty of fluids as you do this throughout this time too. And like I said before, it's really important to make sure that you still eat. Even if you're fasting, don't stop eating, because we need that groundedness to maintain our psychic boundaries as we have this spiritual experience. Step 2 is to release old pain from previous experiences of bullying and of attack. Now, what most people don't realise when they're attempting to clear psychic attack is that if you have a history of trauma or of being bullied or attacked in some way, the pain of these experiences tends to weaken our energetic boundaries, and that causes us to be more prone to psychic and energetic attacks of all different kinds. If you don't clear this energy before you enact a protective shield, it's going to cause the shield to lack effectiveness at best and be entirely useless at worst. Okay, you want to make sure you've got that out there, because remember, this is a manifestation. You know, if you've got that in your field, it's sending out a vibration that draws like vibrations back into your space. You want to get that cleared out. Very important. Step 3 is to clear residual psychic attacks embedded in your energy. Now, this step is vital because there is no point in sealing and protecting your energies if the harmful energies of all that lower vibration is still present in your field. It would only serve to seal them inside ultimately. Instead, what we want to do is cleanse all traces of psychic hooks or damage to clear out that auric field so that it's really, really crystal clear. Again, just like the last step, ensuring there's nothing negative in our space that can be sent out and draw like vibration to us. Nice and clear. Once you've done that, any sealing of our energies that's done is maintained much more long term as a result. Step 4 is to invoke the Divine Merkaba for protection. Now, once all those previous steps have been completed, we can now safely and effectively call upon the Divine Merkaba to seal your auric field to prevent future attacks from affecting you. However, contrary to popular advice, we will not seal it completely closed. That's what most people do, because doing so can stop us from receiving all the good and wonderful energies that we want from life, too. You're creating a block that blocks out the negative, but it blocks out the positive as well. So instead, what we do is we seal it to be impervious to negativity, but permeable to the love and light that we consciously want to allow and we're given permission to be in our space. And then step 5 is live with honour. Live with honour. This is my last piece of advice here, is to take the Merkaba energy with you in all that you do. Use it for the energy focusing tool that it really is, to continually gently nudge you back to right alignment. Okay, live through that balance in energy and honour its help and support by conducting yourself in a way that aligns with respect, with integrity, with honesty, with light. Use it as an energetic talisman and a vehicle to raise your consciousness and assist in that ascension process to move forward with grace and ease, just like those ancient mystics did. Are you ready to activate your Divine Merkaba protective shield right now? We can help with that, but first we'll have a little recap about what we've learned so far. So first of all, what we talked about was that energy sensitives like us are at constant risk of psychic attack, and that psychic attack is a form of invasion when negative energy is sent from one person to another, and it lowers our vibration. And of course it can be conscious, or most often it's unconscious. Now these attacks, if they are left untreated, they lower our vibration and they actively prevent us from reaching those higher levels of consciousness and awakening. And we also talked about how the Divine Merkaba is your secret shield for divine protection against psychic attack, because it actively restores balance. It focuses everything, it shifts you out of all that negative mindset, and it helps you maintain balance and focus, and it shifts you into a stronger yet compassionate centeredness, which is wonderful. We talked about the signs of psychic attack to watch out for. So there's lots of emotional signs, any negative emotions that are sudden or that you can't really work out where they came from, and victim mentality and recurrent themes of bullying or attack in life. We talked about the physical signs, feeling unwell, uncomfortable, instant fatigue or feeling drained, headaches, brain fog, nightmares, especially if it's dreams of being attacked in some way, and the fight or flight response being activated, so shaking, sweating, palpitations with no seeming cause. And then we talked about the energetic signs to look out for, feeling ungrounded, feeling that you're being watched, having your forward movement in life blocked or having ongoing bad luck, tension or discomfort in the chakras, and simply suspecting or just knowing that you have been or are being attacked. Yeah, because you've got to trust your intuition too. And we talked about the steps that you can use to protect your energy from psychic attack that really work. So you want to make sure that you prepare yourself for invocation by choosing to align with its energy. And that of course means being our best selves, being responsible and conscientious in our thoughts, in our actions and in our deeds. And you can fast before this experience, you can prepare a sacred space before you do so. And remember, if you're fasting, to ensure that you drink fluids and that you don't stop eating. You must always ensure that you do eat throughout that time to bring the groundedness and the protection and the energetic boundaries. And then step 2 is to release old pain from previous experiences of bullying and attack, so that you're not drawing any of that into your field again. Then step 3, clear residual psychic attacks embedded in your energy. Again, making sure that you don't draw anything more into your field. Step 4 is to invoke the Divine Merkaba for protection. And step 5, which is very important when you call upon Merkaba energy, is to live with honour, conducting yourself in a way that aligns with respect, integrity, honesty and light, and use it as an energetic talisman and vehicle to raise your consciousness and assist in that ascension process so that you can move forward just like the ancient mystics did. Now, do you want some help with that? Does this sound like something you would be interested in? Well, the good news is that you don't need to go to energy healers, you don't need to train, you don't need expensive repeated sessions. If you're ready to get started on protecting yourself against psychic attack right now, then you can check out our brand new energy healing meditation. It is the Divine Merkaba Protective Shield, and it is specifically created to shield your energy from negative influence, lower vibrations and psychic attack using the Divine Merkaba Pyramid energy. And we can get started in about 10 minutes time. Now, you won't find an energy healing product like this anywhere else. Our meditations are a special blend of guided meditation and energy healing and activations. So it's the equivalent of a specifically tailored one-to-one energy healing session with me, because I work with a collection of high vibrational spirit guides who are dedicated to helping us on the awakening pathway, and they specifically tailor the energy healing to you, your energy and your awakening. And you can use it again and again, over and over, to heal layers, and you can do so from the comfort of your own home and of course at your own pace. This meditation is going to do a few key things. It's going to surround you with a protective shield that actively restores balance. It's going to strengthen your resolve and fortify your spirit. It's going to shift you out of the vibration of vulnerability and victimhood and into a strong yet compassionate centeredness. It's going to defend against psychic attack, psychic hooks and negative projections from others. It's going to elevate your focus from that victim-perpetrator cycle and the battling of dark versus light. It's going to help you to govern your power responsibly and avoid unintentional psychic attack towards others. And it's going to cultivate a harmonic sense of unconditional love and divine connected oneness, because of course the Merkaba is all about that unity. It's an excellent energy to be tuning into, so take a look below and just see if it resonates with you.